wicked.
Yes.
Here we are with the one and only Jinz Moss.
Yo, what's up?
So this is like, is there a big kind of, is that like a big niche of like comedian turned rapper or comedian slash rapper? Like, is there many of those in the world?
I don't know any like personally, like not in my social circle, but there's a dude called Doc Brown, and he does like actual rap comedy, so he raps, and they're comedy raps, you know, sort of be like live version of like Little Dicky or something, you know. And then there's guy like Little Dicky, he does his comedy rap thing. I don't know, I don't really blend them that much. Like I do use a bit of humor in my in my raps, but I don't really do
any raps
like not like a whole sketch where it's like the rap is the whole. Nah, like I might chuck in the odd line that's funny and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like my comedy is quite a new thing for me that I'm like just starting to get acquainted with, and I've been doing the rapping for so long, so I wouldn't want like bad comedy to ruin good raps, you know. Like if I blended them too much, I'd like to keep it a little bit separate at the moment. But yeah, there's a few knocking about, but yeah.
Yeah, I just imagine the niche that you're in there is a bit of a, I don't see much of it. You do see impersonators. You see impersonators do like, you see Ari Spears and things like that doing a bit of rap with their stuff, you know?
Yeah, he's funny.
He's actually a funny guy.
Yeah, he's good, Ari Spears, man. He's got good stand-up as well. He's quite brutal.
I haven't seen too much of his stand-up, but I know he's a pretty funny guy. I've seen him interviewed and stuff like that, and he's genuinely funny.
That's a DMX impression. DMX impression's classic.
Oh, my dogs. So he always does DMX.
Yeah.
I love when you see someone impersonating the person better than they do themselves, you know?
Yeah. He smashes it. He does a sketch where he's like DMX's mum. DMX, and he's like dressed up and shit in like a pink dress, and he's got like a grey wig on, Ari Spears has, and he's DMX's old dear, and DMX obviously plays DMX. That's fucking hilarious.
Are there some comedians that you like both look up to in terms of in the past, kind of, you know, whether dead or alive, like as you're coming up, or is there like, and then now there's some current comedians that you kind of like, oh, this person's really got it.
Yeah. I know what you're saying, sort of like ones that maybe, I'm trying to think of comedians that I watched back in the day, because when, in the setting that I was from, like a lot of people that I knew used to watch Lee Evans, and he's very fucking slapstick English comedian. I was never really too into him, and he was sort of the first thing I saw of stand-up, so it kind of actually put me, I don't want to be too harsh on him, he's not shit, it's just not my cup of tea, you know, and if anything, put me off stand-up a little bit, and then I think...
But you were into it before you saw this guy?
Nah, not really. Like, he was just the first thing I saw of stand-up comedy when I was really young, you know. He was like the first time I ever saw just one man on a stage trying to make people laugh, and he was just like really slapstick. It just like, it didn't really speak to me that much. My mates thought it was hilarious, but I'm trying to think of someone.
Are you into Lenny Henry at all?
Nah, not too much. You know, they're sort of like, they're quite, not really, man. Not really so much of Lenny Henry. I'm trying to think of, like, maybe Ricky Gervais might have been one of the first ones, because, I mean, his first stand-up now, Animals, has got to be, like, 15 years ago, I think, so, And then I think, like, the thing that really, really made me, it ain't really been, like, a aspiration for that long, maybe, like, 7-8 years, you know, I've had it on the radar, So it's not really something like I saw when I was like 10 and was like fixated with it. It's only sort of been in my like sort of creeping towards my mid-20s where it really sparked, and it was Louis C.K., man. You know, it's just like, guys, just fucking. I know he's just he's got bad rap and stuff, you know, at the moment because he's got like scandals and whatever. But like, to be honest, it was him, and then like, yeah, Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, Patrice O'Neill.
Patrice, he's the man.
Patrice O'Neill's just like, I don't know how he does it. I don't even know how the fuck he does what he does, because he has got this like some way of like making this like the darkest misogyny have like the most like clear-cut logic that you almost actually couldn't argue with it, but then it's like uncomfortably true but really bad. It's like, oh, it's fucked up, man. And he makes it funny. It's just, yeah, I don't know how he does it.
So the names you just dropped are kind of like the OGs. You kind of mentioned a bit of OGs.
They're the pillars, yeah. They're like they're the people I'm just, yeah. You can't even tell. For me, it's like as soon as they're on stage, it's like it's not even there. They're just so natural. It seems amazing.
And in terms of like coming through, are there any like new names that you've been? Do you keep your eye on? Because I watch them.
Yeah. I'm not like, I am still a little bit, I do have to get my arm twisted a little bit to watch new things. I do have my guards up a bit, and like only like to, if people put me onto stuff, you know, oh, you should watch him. It could be months, and I'll get around to it, but I'll do it in my time, which is a bit of a stupid way to be, you know. You should just check, because I end up sleeping on a lot of stuff because of that narrow-minded mentality. But yeah, there's new dude. Well, fairly new, James Acaster. He's an English dude. He's sort of like probably still been doing it like 10 years, but he's just started blowing up, you know. He's real good. Bo Burnham, but he's actually, I think, stopped for a while. Saw some new stuff of his.
What do you remember any of the bits that just stand out that made you go, actually, yeah?
Fuck. There's a bit James Acaster does about ready to eat apricots.
About what?
There's a you can get tins of apricots in England, and they say on the tin ready to eat apricots, and then James Acaster does a bit about I just can't do any justice, but he does a bit about being you are what you eat. And then if you eat ready to eat apricots, then you are ready to eat apricots. And then he just smashes it. But that's the only bit I can remember at the moment. It's hilarious, but obviously I just butchered it.
Yeah. What do you, so those are a couple names too. There's one guy, new guy, because I don't know why, but I think it's probably from Delirious and Raw is the reason why I'm into comedy, because I watched those like back to back on back to back. I could watch those 100 times and I'm gonna laugh just as much. 100 times. And
there's some that are like that. Some specials that are like that, you know. Yeah.
And that's like, even to this day, if I don't really watch Netflix, I don't really watch TV. But if I'm at someone's place and they have Netflix, I'll find some comedy to watch, and I'll watch like maybe 3 or 4 different specials, right? Especially new people coming through. One of my new guys is Theo Von. I'm loving his stuff.
Theo Von, yeah. Name rings a bell, yeah.
He's a funny guy, and another guy is Daniel Sloss. He's a young fella.
Right.
I reckon you like him. I reckon you check out Daniel Sloss. He's a funny boy. He's similar to...
Yeah. You have to send him through in a message at the end, man. Yeah. I'll have to check him out.
What sort of... because I've heard some of your comedy at a HIMSA festival. You did a bit of stuff during your set, like in between. It's a great way, actually. Some of my favorite MCs are people who are funny in between songs.
Yeah. See, that's another thing, man. I theorized. That's just another technique I need to work out, because yeah, sometimes it's very hard to go from the transition if you're trying to make people dance or trying to get people to have loads of energy, and then getting them to actually then stop, pay attention and listen and absorb something on a humorous level. It's like you're changing the energy dramatically, trying to tell a joke between songs. So sometimes it works, sometimes, you know, I don't do it, but I actually thought that would go together a lot easier than it has proved to be. But it's still you can still do it. Yeah, it's just not really something that you can plan. I think that's what I fucked up, is like getting like going before gigs and going, right, so this gig I'm going to do this. I'll probably tell this joke between these songs, you know, and then like the energy of the room's just not right at the time when I was supposed to be telling a joke, and then obviously you just don't tell it. But you can't really plan those things out. You have to just be like, all right, yeah, the mood's right. It's the right room to knock out a couple of jokes.
I'm sure there's bits as well that would make sense. Like, do the bits that you have actually have relevance to this set or to this song? Or the
yeah. Even if it's not relevant to the song, if it's just like a bit of a universal joke, you know, you can have. I've got jokes about people that getting annoyed about people asking you for cigarettes. Although I'm actually at the moment I'm not smoking. I've quit smoking. I've got a week. I haven't smoked for a week. That's
funny in itself.
Yeah. But I've got a bit about that, and you could do that anyway. You know, it's not like a city-specific joke. You can be like, yeah, you can. So there's some jokes you can do, but if you've sort of written jokes particularly about the area that you're in, then obviously you can't do them. that stereotype, you could change the name to the city, but the stereotype that you've written the joke about might not ring true in the city that you're in. So yeah, it's not really not gonna work.
How long have you been rapping? How long have you been doing the comedy? Like, what was first?
Well, rapping's long before. Well, the thing is, yeah, I don't know. I've always like been one to try and fucking make my mates laugh. So I have been fucking, you know, I've been interested in comedy for a lot longer than I've been performing it on stage. I've taken an interest in comedy for quite some time. Yeah, rapping, actually, like making a conscious effort to go on a path creatively with it. Rapping was definitely come first. Started that. At 14, I started fucking around with it a little bit, and then
what were you listening to that made you go, fuck, I want to do that?
Drum and bass MCs, you know. I was listening to drum and bass. I used to be really into like jungle and drum and bass. I used to listen to drum and bass rappers, and then
was that like some General Levy and that kind of thing?
Yeah, like General Levy and fucking like Stevie Hyper and Skibber and Shabba, X-Man and all. Yeah, and all that. Like they were like gods. Because when I was like 15, 16, we used to go and see them at raves. I got a little fake ID and was going into the raves and like fucking going and seeing Skibber and Shabba and all them lot. And then, yeah, they were like gods. So then I started rapping, but it's too fast, man. It's like fucking, couldn't really say nothing, you know, or I couldn't anyway. And there's people that can rap that fast and still manage to cover some good content, but content slips at 180 BPM for me.
That's one of the things that I noticed about UK MCs, especially before grime, and is that even in grime it's actually quite still the case. But one thing I noticed about the UK content is very content based. You're kind of garbage if your content is talking about nothing. Whereas you go to the States, one of my favorite rappers in the world, which is Busta Rhymes, he pretty much doesn't say anything, you know, but he's an amazing rapper, you know, and yeah, that's the big difference. In UK, what's the deal there? Is it like you just get no respect, you get no love if you're not saying something, or?
I'll tell you what, it's the rapping about rapping. Like, that's really uncool. Like, that's basically, if you're rapping about rapping, so if you're saying how cold your flow is or what temperature your bars are, you know, or if you're addressing the fact that you're rapping to us, right? Because rapping really is just the art form. If you're painting, if you're doing a painting, the painting doesn't say, I painted this painting, I'm painting now. Like, that's just the form of expression, really. You know, you can express a million different stories through rapping. You don't have to tell us you're doing it. Like, that's the one thing that you just, for me, I feel like it's quite a common thing in the UK. Is everyone tries to stay away from the rapping about rapping thing. You know, the minute you walk onto that territory, I feel like you've just become like cheeseball. You know, it's just like corny. It's just corny. Like, no one needs to know.
What? So how did you slow it down? What got you into the, like, all right, this is a bit too fast? Where did you go from there?
Right, so drum and bass, then started listening to grime, and I was like, still too fast.
That's like half pace, right? That's like
that was 140 was classic grime speed, 140 BPM, and you'd be rapping at 140. You wouldn't be rapping. You wouldn't be really be rapping at 70 on it. You know, you'd be doing it at 140. So that was still too fast. And then honestly, when I think I was about 21 when I was like got locked onto hip hop, and I'd heard it a bunch of times before, but not really too. Like, I'd still been like, now I'm rapping on grime or I'm rapping on drum and bass. I'd listen, and then as soon as I started trying out rapping on hip hop, I was like, this is where it's at for me. You know, this is where I can express myself most efficiently.
You can say some stuff and actually be heard.
Yeah.
Actually hear yourself.
Yeah.
And what was that? Was there like, because is that a thing? Is like UK hip hop, that's a thing? Or like, was that birthed at a certain period? Like, because I know there's guys like Brain Tax, Jest, these kind of guys.
Yes, they're basically like Rodney P and that. They're like the first. So that'd probably be like mid-80s, I think. It's like the first UK hip hop. And I think there was some stuff from before then, but they were rapping in an American accent. Before, like, in like early mid-80s, American accent, and it starts mid-80s, 90s. That's when the English accent stuff started coming out, and that's when it really took off for the UK, and it actually, like, the sound started to develop once we just like stopped mimicking, you know, and actually began to just be inspired and create. It got a lot better.
Was that London, or whereabouts was that?
We all get to London, London. Mostly sort of, like Afro-Caribbean, like people in London, sort of like taking it to the next level. Obviously, Jest is actually from out in the country and then moved to London. As far as I know,
is Jest considered like similar, like an Eminem in that way? He's inspired a whole like legion of white rappers, or
for the UK, for like, you know, like the whole of High Focus, I'd say, which is basically, well, they're like the biggest thing in UK hip hop. So he's massive inspiration for them. So
did you get into
inspiration for me? He was amazing.
When you got into hip hop, what were you buying records? Were you buying CDs? What was the vibe?
Tape packs, man, was the first thing I was going to buy. It was big eight tape packs of fucking drum and bass tapes and a little tape player.
Little Sony Walkman.
Yeah, little Sony tape player thing, man, and just boom, and just playing drum and bass tapes. And then fucking really tried this whole CD thing, but when you're like walking along with the CD, it just jumps, man. So it's just like, and even it had like a little setting on it, like anti-jump fucking setting or something, you know, anti-skip it and bollocks, and do nothing, mate. So didn't really bother like being it. Like I was just like, yeah, tape was efficient, and then as soon as a CD, that was whack. Didn't really get into MIDI disc, and then next thing you know, fucking MP3's out, and it's game changer. Like,
yeah, got yourself an iPhone.
Yeah, I think fucking. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I had like, but yeah, that was it. That was the only really form of music I ever really bought was those tape packs, and then as soon as like LimeWire and that's out, I just straight onto that. You know, I don't think I really went through like a long period of like collecting music, which is a bit of a shame. You know, I think I actually just missed that generation. You know,
with records. Do you have a record player at home or?
Nah, man, nah. Well, I'm featured on an album that's coming out on Wax soon. So that'll be my debut onto Wax. So then I'll have to get the record player to just spin that.
Yeah, nice.
Big
moment. So for you started so you were rapping on the drum and bass. So you were writing your own raps, were you performing? What was the trajectory?
Nah, man, house parties. That'd be it. House parties, illegal raves. Fucking jump on the mic.
Did you just find the mic and just boom, or did you have a setup at home? Like, what were you doing?
I had a setup at home as well. I just pissed my mum off. So it was actually my brother got me like an amp. I think my brother bought me an amp and a mic because he knew I was into it, you know. And then that was it. I had a stereo, so I'd play the instrumentals like off my phone through the stereo and crank that up as loud as I can, and then separately coming out through just the amp would be just the mic, you know. There's no music. There'd be no music. It's two separate feeds.
Yes.
And it was just smashing that, and the next thing I know, I'd hear like, I don't know, I'd be up there for hours, and the next thing you know, bump, 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 bump. That's obviously my mum's got home, you know. It's time to stop. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Stop.
So you just rap to yourself? Do you have mates in there, or?
Nah, none of my mates were really into it, man. It was kind of just me on my own, you know.
Yeah,
I had one or two mates that sort of might come around and watch me do it, but none of them really wanted to join in, you know. Yeah, I was a little bit on my own in that fact. No one was really into it in my group of friends, which is just a bit of a shame. I feel like, yeah, but I feel like perhaps that's why I might not have pursued it as hard as I probably could have done if I had a group of like-minded people around me. There's just minimal people that are into it. So,
where was that? Where were you then?
I was situated in Kent then, which is like about hour and 20 outside London, in south of England, and just like weren't really.
Wasn't it bad? Are there any big rappers from there these days, or?
What's that?
What's Kent famous for? Are there any big rappers from down there, or what's the
there's a few
famous for?
There's a few people from there, man. Mike Righteous from Margate, he's pretty big. He's doing an Australian tour, I think, soon. Yeah, who else? Jesus, from Kent. Do you know what? I don't know. I don't want to bag on my own area, but it's musical talent. Jesus, I'm sure there's loads of people, man. There's loads. There's a lot. There's a lot of drum and bass talent that comes from Kent, like Harry Shotter, and there's a bunch of people. But I can't think hip hop wise. There's a guy called Wordsmith, maybe. I don't know. I don't think there's actually that many that comes from Kent. But
it's actually Kent is actually where my baby mama's from. Actually, so my children are from a part Kentish.
No way. No way. Yeah. Oh, they'll be better off growing up in Australia, mate, I reckon.
Melbourne City goes all right.
Yeah. That's
so when did you first come out here? Because that's where we met out here in Oz. What drew you out here?
So I moved to Australia when I was 21, 22. Just an off the cuff move. just out of boredom, and you know, it's just getting a bit monotonous where I was, so I decided to get out. Oh, I was doing too much drugs and shit, you know, as well. It was time to. So yeah,
change
moved there.
environments.
Yeah, moved there and then bumped into a mutual friend of ours, Reese.
Yeah.
Just, you know, got talking to him on the street, and he was like doing some promotion, like leaflet flicking promotion or something like that for a hip hop night across the road. And then yeah, I told him that I was into hip hop and then all that, and then ended up going around to his house like 3 weeks later. I was like looking through my contacts, and I ended up going around to Reese's place, and he filmed me rapping and sent it off to a few people, and then yeah, things just carried on from there. You know, there's no point. I won't dig too deep into the whole story of how
The rest was history.
that happened, but the rest is history. Basically, you know, I just stayed in Australia for like 2 years and did what anyone's doing who's trying to sort of get their name out. You know, fucking go and do a bunch of shit gigs, and you know, fucking dead out venues, and fucking yeah, get your embarrassment right, get your embarrassment stripes over you, you know, quickly get all the embarrassing like newbie stuff underway. But obviously it felt amazing. It doesn't feel like that when you're doing it, but like in hindsight, yeah.
So that was your chops, like, so you played a bunch of gigs then, and then like, were you like, all right, I'm gonna write an EP, gonna write an album? What was the trajectory for you?
Went off to a farm, wrote my first mixtape, then that
What
came
beats? What beats did you use? Where can we? I haven't heard that. Where can we get it?
That first mixtape, don't listen to it. It's the worst. It's the worst. Honestly.
I want to dig it up. I need to dig that
up. Oh, mate.
Have you deleted it from the internet? Or
No. I'll tell you, I've left it up there purposely. I've left it up. I purposely left it up. I could have easily taken it down. It is that whack. But yeah, it's called Memoirs of a Homunculus. That's the Memoirs of a Homunculus. That's the mixtape name. And yeah, it's like horrorcore rap, man. It's like me, like dead angry.
It's going in. Going ham.
It's like alcoholic 22-year-olds rantings of just, you know, like little fucking creepy little 22-year-old sex fiend ranting, you know. It's nonsense.
Sounds amazing. Sounds like a masterpiece.
Oh, it's worth it. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe
it's kind of, you know, I leave it out because it's like, I can't really, if that piece works out there and it's got my name on it, nothing anyone can do can really embarrass me, you know. So, maxed out. Nah, it's good. So yeah, put that out. I'm harsh on myself, man. I put that out, which is great, and then did another EP, which is when I joined up with Fight Music. And that one's actually on Spotify now. That one's like that one I'd sort of say is not bad. You know, it's like still about 3 or 4 years ago now, so I can do a lot better now. But that one's on Spotify, and that was like, yeah, I'm not like ashamed of that or anything. You know, it's
that's already a good feeling.
Decent enough, yeah. And then
can find that we're always, you know, our own harshest critic a lot of the time, and you know, I made hundreds of songs, and I probably like about 3 of them. You know, when you make them, you're like, this is the hottest shit. But by the time you finish them, you know,
that's it, man. It's the game you'll never ever complete. Like, you'll never ever complete music. You know, you will make one song, you're like, this is the best shit I've done. And then a week later, you can see every mistake in it, and you're like, well. And then you make a new one, fix it, and you make a load of other mistakes, and you know, it's just a constant game. Yeah.
I'm a big believer in the numbers, like quality and quantity go kind of hand in hand. Like, you're gonna have a lot of quantity. You know, if you hear a dope album, this person has, you know, it's not the first 10 songs they wrote, 100%. You know. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. You have to churn out. You have to churn out quite a few. Yeah, and you just get better and better. So yeah.
So now is it? Have you written an album or is it just EPs you've done?
Never done myself. I've never done an album. I've done 2 mixtapes, an EP, and then I've been featured on 2 albums, like quite heavily featured on 2 albums as like sort of main MC. But they're not my albums. But I'm currently working on another EP, which is going to be like 8 tracks, but they're like still like 8-track EPs, you know. Some people call them albums these days. So.
What's the deal these days? Is it like you have to make a video for every track? Like, what's the deal these days? I'm you know, don't
Depends,
know what
man. Like, do you know what? I used to think that, and like, I feel like I've been perhaps a little bit frivolous with my budgeting on what videos should actually be done. I feel like, in fact, a smarter move nowadays is to pick your fucking best song or your best 2 songs and just put everything behind them, you know, and just try and make them guys, make them spearhead the operation.
How important is like having your team and having your social media on point? Like, is that like, because these days you see people just famous from being social media, like doing pranks and shit, you know, like I see people doing stupid shit on social media. I'm like, this person has that many millions of followers, and like, what's your relationship with the social media side of things, and also like building a tribe, building a team of your own, and also then, you know, building fans? What's that been like for you, that journey?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Learn loads. It definitely helps. It helps fucking shitloads having a team. Doing it on your own, like, fair play to anyone out there who's doing that, like, proper solo thing, because like I've got probably like 4 or 5 people maybe that do stuff, you know, just ticking over, idling, doing things on my behalf. Well, there's just people that work at Fight Music, you know. There's sort of 2 or 3 interns working at Fight Music that do quite a lot of stuff for our social media and sort of research on like sort of new social media hacks, which obviously my time's better spent. It's not like I don't have the time, but my time's better spent elsewhere. You know, that's
writing music and such.
Writing music, or, you know, something creative, really. So yeah, that's very. I feel like that whole team, having your team thing, is like really important. It's something I'm still building. Like, I'm still looking for management in New Zealand, and just waiting for the right opportunity to come up with the right person for that, so I can have my own team over here, because obviously I'm working with the Australian record label, and they're much more equipped to help the artists that are actually living in Australia. You know, like, for me, it actually makes more sense to have someone hands-on here doing my thing. So, you know, I'm still building a team. I've still got like management within Fight Music, but just still building that.
Based, exactly.
So I'm based in Wellington. Based in Wellington, but been doing quite a lot of traveling around the country. Done a few tours with Raw Collective. So Raw Collective's a 12-piece band that I'm in. So I'm one of 2 rappers for that band, and then so I've done tours up and down the country with them.
Are you familiar or mates with Tom Scott and the Homebrew crew and all those?
I've seen him. I bumped into him at a festival like last New Year's Eve. He was playing at the same festival I was playing at down south, but maybe one day, we could end up doing some work. Yeah, I actually really like all that homebrew stuff. I think it's good vibes, man.
Yeah, the Average Rap Band, one of my favorite groups ever.
Average Rap Band, yeah. I think that's the outfit he was playing as down at this festival. Average Rap Band, yeah.
Yeah, shout
Yeah,
outs to them. There's a good mob.
yeah.
I could introduce you to those mob if you want. They're really good guys.
Fuck yeah. If you could, if you know those dudes, man, Jesus. Yeah, I'd be
And that's the thing. That's the thing I love about just connecting those the dots, you know. And it is a lot who you know, and you know, it's as sucky as it is. Like oftentimes I feel bad if I'm working at a festival. Like oftentimes it's like there might be 100 applications, and I just get to go in and go, yeah, I'll take that job. Thank you very much, because I know whoever's putting it on, you know.
Yeah.
Poor people who genuinely applied, you know. Sometimes you feel bad, but it's also, well, you put yourself in a position and you give value to people and you create relationships with people. So it's you shouldn't feel bad at the same time, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I suppose as for social media, my view on the importance of social media has shifted slightly of recent as well. Just like over the last year, like I put quite a lot of energy into it before, maybe sort of the couple of years previous, and it definitely helps. It is an amazing marketing tool, and I feel like it will continue to like flourish as a marketing tool, but it's not the be all and end all. And we're like, as artists, we need to understand that actually going out there, doing it, making phone calls, emails, and like, you know, like really actually getting out there, even if you're not documenting all these things on social media and like holding them up for people to see that you've done, you know, like achievements, like a big achievements board, you know, they're still happening.
Yeah.
And
we connected, I think, like, you know, even just one of the most underused or I guess estimated points of social media is the DM or the PM, like personally connecting people and actually giving a fuck and having a conversation and going, hey, who are you? How are you? This is me. What are you? And giving a fuck about the people that you're interacting with, rather than going, look, what can I get from you? Or here's something, spamming people and just actually building relationships. So a lot of the time, if we might spend time on our own page, or, you know, I think if we're spending time commenting and interacting and engaging with other people's content and actually having those DM and PMs going, hey, how are you? Who are you? How can I help your life? This is what I've got of value. Maybe you might be interested in it or not. That is the unused. People will take photos of their food, take photos of their dog, take photos of the stuff they're doing, but actually engaging with people on a person-to-person level. I think, you know, if you spent way more time, like 80% of your time doing that, and then 20% on the other stuff, what you get back from social media is probably a lot more. Like you said, it's like making the phone call or making the conversation, calling people.
I just don't think like I've had artists come up to me like at gigs and been like, well, you've got like 10,000 something followers on Instagram, and I tell them, I'm like, dude, forget it. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a fuck. Like, people think I've got money. People think I'm like loaded and shit. It gives a fucking numbers give the wrong impression sometimes, you know. Like, and I just like I constantly stress to artists, forget the fucking numbers. You get caught too much up in that. Just fucking make the music, and like the numbers, they help sometimes, but like just focus on your fucking music. Like I feel like the numbers game in social media is just be absolutely ruthless to your self-belief, you know. I feel like I see a lot of artists, honestly, I see artists put stuff out that don't really put much on social media, but they're absolutely killing it in real life, you know. But they don't, but their love on social media is like this. But they're absolutely smashing it, and it's just like social. Just because you haven't got social media doesn't mean you can't be smashing it in the real world. People survived before this, and they will survive after it. you know, and it does help, but it's not everything. That's something, and like, I'm not only like expressing this to like maybe put anyone else on, but like I'm trying to convince myself as well, you know, because it's like this shit can fuck with your head, like can really fuck with your head.
It's like anything online and apps can be demoralizing, and you know, anything, you know, like it's like a Tinder or something, you know, you swipe and you don't get any matches, it's going to be fucking, you know, similar, like you put a bunch of content, you don't get any love, any gigs, any new fans, it's demoralizing.
Yeah, it can be, that's what I mean. It's just like sometimes you need to step the fuck away and just stop putting energy into it. You know, like sometimes you just need to step away, go and like just do things in real life. You don't need Facebook to book a gig. You don't need like you don't. Yeah.
And that's how do you get that across to, for instance, say you're an artist, you have you've just started your social media. Do a lot of booking agents, do a lot of you know, people who you ring up to book a gig. Are they looking at that? And if you don't have it, what's the
other thing? That's the other thing. Numbers give the wrong impression, mate. Sometimes they may give the wrong impression to your favor. Like if you read between the lines, you know, it's like I've had promoters book me just solely off my fucking off my numbers online, thinking I'm gonna pack out a venue, and the shit ain't happened, and they're like, "What's going on?" Do you know? It's like, yeah, so the numbers they don't mean everything. Yeah.
So what has worked for you in terms of like, well, how many fans would you say you have? Like, who would, if you release something, they would 100% buy it straight away? Like, and what's been?
Oh, that's a good question. I reckon like. I reckon somewhere around probably like 500 to maybe 1,000 of people will be instantly on the radar.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, and for you to get to that point, what's worked for you? And is that something you can track? You can definitely go, well, this equaled a dedicated fan.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You can kind of track it to a degree. It's not something personally I do track, but I think you can track it. It's just sort of me hazarding a guess, sort of on figures when things are going well, you know. I feel like just constant improvement, man, you know, just constantly looking at your work and understanding like what you're doing right and what you liked about it, and also like, yeah, if some people may make comments on your work that are nasty, and some of those nasty comments might actually help you, you know, honestly, like some things you could just be getting checked by someone. Someone could just be telling you the truth, like, dude, you fucking like, oh, you sound a little bit like this, or oh, you like,
everything okay, mate?
You know, I can't hear what he's saying. I can't hear what he's saying, or something like that. You know, so I can't hear what he's fucking saying. You know, that could be to do with the way you're projecting it. Maybe I need to project myself a bit clearer. You know, like, so yeah. I feel like you just always got to take criticism. And also like, good feedback and bad feedback doesn't change the product. So if you love it and someone gasses it, don't like start loving it more and more and more because someone's gassing it. And if you love it and someone doesn't like it, don't let it bring you down, you know, love it. Like, it's like, it's that other thing. It's like, yeah, just sort of stick to what you know is good, you know.
Is this something, did you have much like guidance or mentorship, you know, throughout your career? Like, do you have other people who are like kind of way ahead of you in the journey that have been able to guide you and support you along in the process?
I've had the odd bit of like, yeah, I've had it just being with Raw Collective recently. They've been like quite good guide. They've been really good guidance just through the scene here in New Zealand. And like the odd thing, like I spent some time, a little bit of time with High Focus, which are a record label, and I got to do tour bus driving for them and do a few support slots for them. And you know, I like sort of picked a few of their brains, and they're like top dudes in the UK. You know, the likes of Ocean Wisdom
And when you say
them
pick
lot.
the brand, what particularly, what did you approach them about?
I asked them about longevity. You know, whether any of the, whether they guys, because that was sort of their like that High Focus genre of UK hip hop, which is it's all they've got so many artists on the roster. It almost is its own genre. It was sort of the path I was, yeah, the path I felt myself heading down. So I kind of wanted to know whether they thought there was longevity in it. And yeah, it's just like getting
And what was their feedback?
a bit of words, a couple of words from others of them, you know, just going like, yeah, like just giving me props and saying, oh, I hope you continue and shit like that. You know, it's just like shit like that's helped along the way. I haven't really had like an OG just guiding me, you know, anything like that. I've had help from Reese, who's like sort of played as manager for my entire existence in this. He's been basically the main one that I'll turn to. But
So how important for you? Well, what was the feedback first and foremost when you talked about longevity? What was the words that you received there?
yeah, that they all decided that there was longevity in it. You know, if you've got a fan base and you continue to do stuff, like if you manage to cultivate a fan base and grow a fan base to a point where, you know, if you drop something, this is gonna this like it gives you an income, and you're getting enough, and you can keep up with the shows, and you put your money in the right places. Then yeah, I actually believe there is. I've already seen from doing shows and getting good money from some shows and how quick the money comes. It's fucking fast money, mate, when you get like paid. So yeah, like it's definitely.
And what's the right? What would you call the right places, and what would you call the wrong places when you in terms of putting your money?
Just investment, you know. Like I feel like investing it back in to your brand and like investing it or saving it, and you know, and putting it on property and putting on things outside of music as well. You know, like choosing a few different lanes. You know, I wouldn't invest 100% back into the brand. I'd maybe try and save some and put some in property outside. You know, that's my plan for what to do with music money is, you know, try and pick a few lanes. You don't want to stick all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
That would be my.
And for you, in terms of investing, that's investing money-wise. What about your time and energy? We touched on it earlier, like, you know, focusing on making music, the creation, you know, not so much necessarily on the social media, outsource that if you can. But in terms of like education and learning and honing and getting, you know, constant improvement, like here, how much time do you spend on that stuff, like actually researching the game and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I don't really spend too much time on that, you know. I kind of like fight music sort of, I get seeds of information off of them about that sort of stuff. We might like the time that I'll put in will be either sifting through beats or yeah, like yeah, writing. Really, that's just like my main thing is just try and put in enough hours writing to stay sharp and try and like break down new barriers with flows and stuff like that. And then like I am involved in like setting up the tours and stuff. I don't just sit back and like I am involved in the whole mixing process, the mastering process, and I'm involved 100% like percent and through quite a few areas. But there's a bunch of stuff that yeah, the fight music take care of
That's the label, right? Get the label, so you can just focus, stay in the zone of your genius, right?
Yeah, like I don't want to be like, oh, look, I don't do fuck all. I just do the raps. You know, step in the booth, because it ain't like that. I'm very hands on in a lot of areas. You know, but yeah, I feel like that's my yeah, doing research into like Facebook hacks and all stuff, market hacks and stuff. It's not my it's not my cup of tea, you know.
So with your writing, it's like, do you write bars and you keep sharp writing bars regularly? And is that like a daily thing, or like, obviously, you know, you might have times where you don't, but like when you do, is it then like when you're not writing bars, it's like, all right, I might write some comedy now? Like, how's that work?
Yeah, they're kind of like mind states, really. I get into sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I guess I'm feeling like really poetic and you know, melancholic, and I feel like those times my my form of expression comes out as music. And then, you know, like, to have more than one outlet, I think is such a blessing, because yeah, rap's a form of expression, and I do tend, sometimes I do actually get bored of expressing myself in that format, you know. Like, I actually like just talking, you know, and like comedy's a lot more like that. So and also I feel, yeah, the way I've sort of described like music and comedy, how they're sitting for me, is music's been pimped a lot as well, where there's a lot sat behind it now, you know. There's a lot of financial investment, there's yeah, just a long history and past with it that give it quite a lot of weight, whereas this comedy thing's very, very pure, and it's quite new, and it costs nothing. Literally, mate, write the jokes down, head down to the open mic, put your name down, you know, get up, say your bits. People laugh or people don't laugh, you bounce, you learn, and that is it. Like, there's literally, it's simple as that for me at the moment. You know, I'm not like giving it 110% with the comedy and getting really invested in it and going, I want to go to the moon and be the fucking best comedian. Like, I've done that with rap, you know, and it's like, and it has enhanced it, but it's also killed its innocence in somewhat. Whereas the comedy is just dead innocent, and I've like keeping it that way at the moment, you know, just sort of touch base of it now and again when I feel to. Yeah. But it is very much just like a mind state flip. I feel like in times of melancholy, I'm more than likely turn to music, and yeah, in times of like, yeah, then there's sometimes I just feel like a funny bastard, and then I'm just writing stuff, you know, and it just comes out like jokes.
So
just such a blessing to have.
You don't plan on recording a special anytime soon for Netflix then?
Like, nah, not really, because I know that if the way I see it, look, the amount of years and amount of effort I've had to put into hip hop to get it to a level, you know, to reproduce that effort, and that it's a lot. It's a big commitment, man. You know.
Yeah, it's like, because I hear some, like, I think about like someone like Brendan Schaub or someone who's, you know, doing The Fighter and The Kid. He's done 5-6 years of that, not necessarily, you know, writing comedy, but he's only been doing stand up for a few years, but he just went all in on that, you know, and like, it won't necessarily take you 10 years or 15 years, but, you know,
that's the thing. The fucked up thing is I actually feel like I may have misplaced my energy, if I'm honest, because comedy, like,
comes really easy for you.
Much easier than rapping. Yeah. Like, I got up first time I got up on stage, bombed horribly. But the next time I got up, I killed, and I've done like pretty good most times I've been up. you know, whereas rapping took me, and that was like, been doing it like a couple months. I'm already getting like whole rooms of people laughing. And then like with the rapping, like took me years to get to like a point where you'd even allow the speakers to be in the same room as someone, you know. It's just like it took me years to get like out of a point where it was just absolutely and utterly inaudible. So I feel like I may have misplaced my energy somewhat, but
lucky you're still young, man.
Yeah, that's it, man. I'm still like 29. The other thing why I decided to actually go, right, I'm going to take this to instead of just like chit chatting with your mates and making them laugh, I'm taking this to a point where it's like a creative outlet and pursuing it like that, is because when the rapping loses its dignity, you know, at like
but how old are you?
whatever age I begin to lose my rapping dignity. I don't really think there's a set age for it, because I guess everyone will just pull it up, but there'll be a point, there'll be that time where I get up on stage and then people go, yeah, I think he should pack it in, you know. And then
M's killing at 46, is he?
Yeah, he's still doing it, but that's Eminem. I'm not Eminem, man. Come on. so unless I smash it to that point, I'm not saying that anything's possible, man. Unless I just absolutely smashed it, become a legend, and then people want to see you just for the gimmick of seeing you, regardless. And we come a point, and then comedy. Where's comedy? You can get up and do comedy into your 80s. Yeah. You could be funny. There's no age limit on it, really, and there isn't really on rapping either. But I feel like it would actually become a comedy act beyond a certain age, you know. I feel like
well, I'm a big fan.
Doesn't matter what you're doing at 70, it's comedy. Whether you're rapping or whether you're doing comedy, it's going to be funny as fuck, man.
If you're on stage doing your thing,
if you're on stage doing it, yeah. I don't think you get to pick what medium it is either.
Have you got some, this is one thing I love doing, is when I'm recording these podcasts, is to put people on the spot. So I'm going to ask you for some bars or some, whether they're new or old.
Shit.
Yeah, some acapella or throw on a beat, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Go on then. Chuck on a beat. Have you got any beats?
I don't know. It's not going to work because it's going to be delayed by the time you go. So
yeah. Oh, I could go Akka.
Yeah.
Oh dear. All right. Look. I excuse myself and chewed the fat with Mr. Lecter. I don't remember things you say, you give a kid dementia. Let me sip this nectar, feet up in my fuselage, monging out to interviews of old retired superstars. Heard that conversation, trekking on my stegosaurus, talking like your sentiments are something to be pressed upon us, sure. Either way, it's entertainment, watching faces crumple up like old discarded visa statements. Sketchy ballads, analysing every atom, splitting them and weaving them together into technique patterns. Move a freak or move a sheep, I'm moving supersonic, dabble with that other thing. If lucrative, a move's a profit, my moves are polished, can modify them honestly, ship them out and shot them to the children of dishonesty. Whoa.
There's some new ones or some old ones?
Mid-range, I think, yeah.
That's dope. You got some new ones for us?
Yeah.
Exclusive.
Fuck, what have I got that's new? Let me check something. I hate to be this guy. Sorry, man. I'm not gonna read them.
You're good.
Fuck. I'm kind of stoned, you know. I didn't think. What have we got? Look. I pulled a receipt from my wallet, felt a rush of emotion, checked the date, it's just another day, I barely recall, get to peace and all the knowledge, stowed away, I forgot it, must have slipped and pressed the reset button, it's all gravy. Barman taught me up again, check yourself before you wreck yourself, now I wreck myself and check the wreckage, lady give me love again. She's dirty like the fucking Thames. She's been in the game for years. Gives brain like an animal. Crusted a clown makeup, but bust like a free radical. Stuck on this steep hill with Jack staggers for Jill. Jill dangles the carrot barely feels still. Still, that's my steez. The council estate mutt, I'm rocking grazed up knees with a freed up fleece and a danger screaming optics. A V12 motor mouse, ruckus as a mosh pit. I need a quarantine suit fully sealed just to check the bud. Spread the legs, get a terrible off. It's unbearable. I tell them off. I tell her never, tell her never.
Hey, we got those bars. Thank you. Yes. I love the syllabic structure. It's like really cool the way you're putting those words together, man. Like and very, it's articulate. It's the way that you deliver the syllables is, I love that. Like, you know, it's actually each syllable I'm feeling, you know. So for me, I'm like a nerd when it comes to rap. I've been rapping for 20 years, and I'm like I'm listening, and the words, there's wordplay, there's double entendre, the triple entendre. But for me, the delivery, and if I don't believe what someone's saying, if those syllables aren't hitting me, I'm just saying, eh. But like each you've got those syllables like articulate and elocuted, if that's a word, but the elocution is on point.
Oh, nice one, man. Yeah, well, I always try and speak clearly. Yeah.
It's important, right? It's important.
Yeah, it's very, I feel like it's very important. Yeah. Mumble rappers can't be doing none of
that. But that's cool too, man. Mumble rap, I look at almost like a
that's just using their voice as an instrument. It's not anywhere you're gonna go and look for words, is it?
Yeah, it's like
if you want to go and look for melodies and shit, mumble rap's where it's at. Like, you know, they got mad melodies, mad flows, lyrics just that's not there.
Not about that, and that's kind of cool. Like, I
which
love
is
that.
Fine, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's like each to your own lane, and you know, if you ask, I've seen Lil Yachty freestyle. It's absolutely terrible, but you get, you know, it's like let's have a battle of melody versus, you know, like what I mean. It's just a different lane.
Yeah, it's completely different lane. It's completely different lane, man. It's funny. I kind of wondered. Yeah, kind of wonder when like it's all gonna stop and people are just gonna make their peace with the fact that it exists, you know, because there's been like massive like pushback on everyone's like fucking mumble rap, bro. It's just like, fuck, dude, that shit exists as fuck. That really, super exists, dude. So you might as well just make a piece of it. Like, and no point in letting it fucking keep you up at night.
Right, and and it's easy to hate. It's low hanging fruit. If you're hating on that, you know, for me, it's like everyone hates on that. It's easy to do, you know. So
it is low hanging fruit for the haterade, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm a big believer in, or for me, like if someone's like, oh, what kind of music you into? It's like, for me, I'm a big fan of good examples of any genre. You give me any genre, there's good and shit in both, you know. So you've got some terrible mumble rap, and you got some people who do it really good, you know. So
exactly.
Me, it's like if it sounds good, it makes me move, gets the head snapping. Some of those 808 beats are just freaking head snapping. You can't deny it.
Yeah, so, mate, the trap beats the mumble rappers have are like some of the best beats. Like,
exactly.
On my mixtape, the Wounds, the mixtape. The song that I've done with M3, the Viking, that's a mumble rap. That's Amigos, Slippery. Yeah. That's that beat, you know, like beats fire.
So who are some artists that you're feeling at the moment in terms of coming up, like that you're listening to, or that have been stable?
People I'm listening to at the moment is Boogie. So a guy called Westside Boogie. He's signed to Shady. Recently, he hasn't put a project out through them yet, but
he's an American fella.
American dude, yeah, he's amazing. He's like, he gets compared to Chance the Rapper sometimes. You know, I actually much prefer him to Chance, but anyway. So listening to him, Black, which is spelled 6 Black. I don't know if you know that dude. His music, he's like a R&B, he's like R&B dude. Yeah, he's amazing dude. So I've been listening to
I heard him on Sway the other day spitting bars, and he's like, next time I'm going for 10 minutes at least.
Yeah. He's going for he wants the 5 fingers of death and all that. Yeah, man. Like the dude goes hard. He used to be a battle rapper, man.
He's a
and
beast.
he's like straight up does like he does like R&B and shit, you know.
Love songs.
And
Pretty much every song is a love song. He's a big artist. If you haven't heard him,
that
definitely
new
listen.
album, that new album's fire. Like new album's amazing. That East Atlanta Love Letter, man.
Yeah, man.
Love that shit. So that. What else? I'm just picturing my Spotify. To gigs, been listening to a fair bit of gigs. He's like a UK drill rapper. He's just hilarious, man. His lyrics are just like so simple. It's funny.
Drill. What do you call drill? I've never heard that term. What's this? I'm not up
Drill.
on.
It's like UK road. It's like UK like gunman rap.
I say like.
But it's not like I'm not like I don't even get a lot of the references that he makes a lot of gun references, and I don't really get a lot of it. But there's just some one that it's not all like that anyway. That's like a bit of a generalization to say gigs is just like that, but it's just like got fire beats, and he's just got like a simplicity to him that's like that could be learned from. His songwriting is just real good. Like Drake sometimes. Drake's not like the most like intricate, but his songwriting's incredible. Like, so I'm kind of listening to that, like a bit of singy, like quite soft stuff, man. Like, sort of singing and just like actually trying to soften my style up a little bit more, and trying to make
trying to balance out the Viking.
Exactly. I'm just trying to soften. Because I'm like that anyway, I just want to try and expose that side of me a bit more, because I listen to like that soft love songy type stuff, right? So it doesn't all have to be. I don't always have to be going to be like the best MC in the world, like you don't have to always be in that headspace, I can just try and write some nice lyrics, some nice fucking. Even like moving into like the pop poetry side of things, like. Trying to move, like, start moving towards a bit more commercially viable stuff,
100%.
Because I listen to that music, man. Like, I listen to pop music, dude. I listen to.
I'm the same. I'm the same, man.
So it's not like even like a breach on my morality or anything like that. It's not like. I'm not trying to cash in, dude. Like, I like that music, so obviously I'll just make what I like.
Like I said, like some of the biggest artists in the world, you look at someone like a Michael Jackson, make pop music. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
Look at Justin Timberlake, makes dope music, pop music.
Yeah.
And I was watching the other day the Black Eyed Peas play, and I was like, wow, these guys like made it big. People, what was it? Where is the love? Like some conscious shit. You look at Michael Jackson, some conscious shit they're talking about. And some of the biggest artists in the world, biggest songs in the world, and I love that. And it's you can get to the mainstream and get a message out there, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You can make like fucking like you can keep your integrity, There's plenty of people doing it, You might not be as big as Justin Bieber, If there's that pop, if you go all the way. But you can go most of the way there and still feel dead comfortable, Like, there's plenty of stuff I still feel comfortable writing that sounds like poppy.
Well, you can't hear it, man.
Yeah. Or there'll be a movement towards that. There's some stuff I've got like a backlog of a few tracks that are sort of moving in that direction. So we'll see. And each project that's coming out, I'll be diversifying in that direction for the next few projects. So
Excelente. Yeah, man. I'm happy we got to catch up and have a yarn. I learned a lot about yourself, and look forward to hanging out next time you're in Oz or vice versa. Anytime now that I know where you are in Wellington, I'll give you a shout next time I'm that side of the world.
Yeah, man. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And I'll maybe catch you next time we're in Oz. And likewise, thanks for reaching out and getting me on this. And I learned a bit about yourself. I've sort of been watching what you've been doing for a while, so it's cool, man.
It's
And
cool, man.
glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate your time. Keep doing it, and you know, let's see some. I want to see this special at some point as well. Definitely.
Yeah. I reckon. Yeah, just I got to fucking knock out a couple more musical ventures, and then I probably will. I probably will knuckle down on the comedy at some point. You know, it does stress me out. I do need to do more of it. It stresses me out that I don't grab hold of it more. So yeah, I think that'll happen soon.
Well, you look at is it Donald? Is his name Donald Glover?
Donald Glover, man. Yeah. See, that's the yeah. There'll be some life changes that will happen over the next year or so. Some stuff with my visa that will free up some more time for me. And because I'm very, very pressed for time at the moment, but when my time's a bit more free, then I'll definitely look at pursuing that some more, because it is doable, you know.
100%.
It's definitely doable.
Thank you, brother. You have an amazing one. And if there's any last little thoughts you have, just maybe drop them now, and we can wrap it up.
Well, just thanks again, for reaching out, and I guess anyone that doesn't know any of your fans that obviously that be watching this, then just to go and check out my page on Spotify. You know, that's where the best of my stuff is at the moment. A couple of new collaboration projects to check out, and just watch out for the new stuff coming out. And that's about it, man. And look out for Fight Music, all the artists on Fight Music, Alpha Mamas on there, and all that, you know. So that's about it, really.
Big things are going. Big ups, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, big ups, brother. Big ups, man. Appreciate it.
Have a wicked evening, and we'll tune in soon. So thanks for tuning in, guys. And until next time, keep the flow growing and the growth flowing.
Easy.